everybody. Welcome to Yes Have Some Podcast. We're calling this Gut Reactions. We've never done this before. We just got out of the Rise of Skywalker.
I don't need notes. I just saw the movie.
You're throwing your notes?
Throwing my notes out.
Let me introduce us. Abigail Gardner, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I wasn't good like 30 minutes ago when I was crying.
Hold on. No
okay.
spoilers.
I won't.
Jacob, how are you doing,
I'm
my
doing
friend?
good.
I don't know.
All right. Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Are you conflicted?
So, hold on. We need to reveal this right now. We decided none of us have shared any of our opinions with each other about, I don't know if it's Rise of Skywalker or The Rise of Skywalker. Just like Yes Have Some Podcasts. I don't know if it's Yes Have Some or The Yes Have Some Podcasts.
Yeah.
But
it's whatever you want it to be.
we all took in our screenings tonight. We're all settled back at home, and we wanted to go ahead and get these gut reactions out. Jake, the world is dying to know. I got to throw it to you right now, man.
Wait, can we, before we throw to Jake, are we doing how many fucks we give or like a percentage or 9 out of 10?
Okay, from a YHS perspective, we could do all that, but from like a friend, personal perspective, I'm done. I've been holding. I want to know what Jake feels. I know what you feel because I was with you.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody who's checking us out on Yes Have Some Podcast. We're going to be putting this up on YouTube, Facebook, all that. Jake, what's up, man? How you feeling? You watched every Star Wars movie in the last week. Tonight you took in episode 9. What's your gut reaction?
I came out of it very sad. Very, very sad. So sad that I filmed myself talking into my camera 30 minutes after I got out of the movie because I could not stop crying. And I don't know why, because the movie's not sad. There's some sad stuff, but the movie's not a sad
I'm giving Jake a hug.
A virtual hug?
I literally...
Jake, will you accept my hug?
I went to Walmart and then couldn't get out of the car. Oh. I got out of the movie a half an hour before you guys did.
Yeah.
Walmart has that really convenient grocery pickup, you know?
And I couldn't get out of my car. And I was like... I don't know, man. I just feel really sad. And I don't know if that's the feeling that I want coming out of the last Star Wars movie. And I don't know if it's sad because like it's over. I don't know. Like I did like the movie overall, but there are some things that I think I have some not like nothing. I don't think I have any major issues with what's in the movie. I don't think there's a couple things that maybe I don't buy that I won't like. We'll get there when we get there, but right. I don't know, man. I came out of it feeling really sad. Yeah.
So let's set the stage a little bit. We are going to go spoiler heavy. We'll have more in-depth analysis over the next couple weeks as we see the movie multiple times, digest it. But we wanted to go ahead and just start getting, because I know we're all filled with thoughts and feelings.
And yeah, I have questions. I need to know, Jake, were you sad because it was the end of a saga, or are you sad because you were let down?
I don't know.
You're just sad?
I don't know. I think it may be both of those things.
I think...
Go ahead.
So, Jake, as we've all been watching these movies our entire lives, but specifically over the last 10 days, we've all been taking a deep dive. As a matter of fact, I was watching Attack of the Clones today, and Hayden Christensen was flirting with Natalie Portman, and I literally yelled at the TV. Abby heard me from the other room. I went, "Get it! Get it, Annie!
Get it, Annie!"
I don't know why. I feel, Jake, that maybe what you're feeling is the emotional release of knowing, and it's about to get real sad. We're never going to see Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford on screen as those characters again. Like, I mean, we've said that before, but this was the ultimate closure to... It's so weird because in a lot of ways, and let's start getting to the spoilers, we got the end of the initial part of the story for Rey and Finn and Poe, but this movie really felt like the book closing on the original trilogy, tying up the loose ends. Lando was there. You know what really got to me? When Lando, early in the movie, when they first meet up with him, when he talks about like an adventure that him and Luke Skywalker went on in search. By the way, I don't know any of these planet names yet. I don't know the act. Like, this is gonna be as surface level as possible because I haven't read any spoilers. I haven't read anything. So I went into this movie really fresh.
Morning,
but Jake, I relate to that feeling of sadness. I felt some closure, but also an overwhelming sense of like, this is part of my life. This is a chapter closing. And so I completely relate to those initial feelings. Abby, what were your feelings coming out of the movie?
Yeah, not necessarily like it was an immediate urge to see the movie again is what I was left with. And I didn't feel sadness as much as resolution and completion of the things that I wanted to see wrapped up. And I really am a sucker for the way it all played out. I thought it was very poetic and I was extremely happy with it. I felt like it was a very perfect ending to the saga. I was very trepidatious going into this movie because of The Last Jedi. And I felt like from the get-go, this movie did a lot to correct and go a different direction.
10 minutes of the movie, I leaned over.
Rose, you stay here.
Yeah, Rose, stay. 10 minutes of the movie, all I kept thinking was like J.J. Abrams on his laptop going, undo.
Delete.
Well, Jake, man, let's elaborate a little bit. I mean, none of us really love The Last Jedi. I think we've all come to the conclusion that there's stuff in it that we like. There's stuff in it we really don't like. This movie, I can't say it felt like The Force Awakens because it didn't, but this felt overall closer in tone and from a sense of going on an adventure with characters that I love and adore, closer to a Star Wars movie than we got the last time around with The Last Jedi.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for sure. It definitely has a better feel to it to me, and it's way above I'll go ahead and tell you right now, my favorite part of this movie is when Rey throws the lightsaber and Luke grabs it and says, "Whoa!
Whoa!
A Jedi's weapon deserves respect." Yeah. And then he looks, and then right after he says that, he looks right into the camera and says, "Fuck you, Rian Johnson."
Yeah.
Yep.
That's my favorite part of the movie.
Yep. I picked up on that too.
Because that's literally how I feel.
It's so weird. No, I mean, Abby brought that up just now, like 5 minutes ago.
It's my least favorite part of The Last Jedi is seeing Luke throw the lightsaber off the back. This movie, not only with that, but with like pulling up the Luke's ship out of the water, that shit, like there was so much really cool. Tying up of things in a way that I wanted. I'm curious, Jake, to know what your gripes were, but I know from the beginning, for me to the very end, I felt like this movie was consistently pleasing me and making me happy. And
I'm looking at my Black Series,
services,
my Star Wars Black Series shelf right now. There's 20 figures that have all fallen over. That's how shook they are. They're
straight up shook.
I need to stop.
I will tell you that I feel like there are a few things that maybe like I wish would have been a little different, but I think those things are probably just like nitpicky things, and they're things that like I can't fault the movie for them, because it's like I think I would have liked it better like this, but that doesn't mean it was a bad choice. But the one thing that I don't buy, I don't 100% buy Kylo's redemption.
Ooh,
and I told you this before. I told you before this movie came out that I wouldn't be able to get behind it. And it's really, and like even with Han Solo standing there staring right out of the screen, telling the audience, it's okay, this is what needs to happen. Like, that's literally why Han Solo was there, to tell us that it's okay for us to forgive Kylo for killing him. But that's hard for me to, I'm not Rey. I'm not a Jedi. It's very hard for me to just say, oh, okay, he's good now.
You're
he's good
Jedi
now.
to me.
5 minutes ago, you were trying to kill Rey, and now you're a good guy.
But I
don't buy that. And then also, like,
don't you think that Leia's influence and like talking to him, then using her last of her abilities, like communicated something more to him? Because that's what I thought more turned him than seeing.
Man, why are y'all focused on Kylo Ren when Hux was the most interesting face turner?
Yeah, talk about baby face. I'm not here to help you. I just don't want Kylo Ren to win.
I don't know what that was with Leia. That to me just seemed like she was distracting him so Rey could win. Also, like this part of why it doesn't work for me is because the first half of this movie, Kylo he's very scary, and he is like he's far more powerful than he is in the first two films. He's like just tossing, like he's like kicking ass the first half of this movie, and then it's like boom, I'm a good guy now.
Yeah.
So I was like, but that part of that feels like Rian Johnson's fault for not including that shit in the you know what I mean? Like
his
that
confliction.
And some of the Rey training stuff in the beginning, I really liked it, but it almost felt like, this should have been
in the last
movie.
Yeah. Should have been in the last movie.
Well, the first 15 minutes of Rise of Skywalker is all about setting the stage.
Yeah.
Like they tell you in the scroll, like the scroll here's spoilers. It says, The Last Jedi wasn't great. We know that. Here's what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Word for word, that's what it says.
That's what it says.
Yeah.
It's like Palpatine's back. We don't know how. The Sith have magic. Deal with it. And I'm cool with that.
I'm cool with it because if those were scenes that we wanted to see in The Last Jedi or should have seen them, I'm happy just to see them, period.
Yeah, me too.
I really fucking like seeing Rey up in the air with all the rocks around her and her training ritual with Leia. That shit I'm 100% behind.
Yeah, I love all that stuff, and I'm glad it's here, but it almost feels like I don't know. It just feels like it's kind of a part of a different movie, but it's like that because we're having to do course correct. It has to be like that.
Right.
So I can't. I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. It's just. Go ahead.
I think one of the points of discussion will be the Kylo redemption, which Jake, we've talked about this a lot on the podcast. You don't love redemption stories. You're like, hey,
I'm not. Yeah, but you know what? I don't. But also, I rewatched Star Wars.
Yeah.
I rewatched the other 8 movies in the trilogy over the last 4 days, or over the last weekend, and I'm all for the Darth Vader redemption. To me, it's sold in a very I don't know why I can fall for his redemption at the in a second, but Kylo's I'm having a little bit of an issue with, and I'm not 100% against it like I thought I would be. Like they try really hard to, I don't know, show, he gets, I like that Rey, kills Kylo Ren. Mm-hmm. And then after that stab, it's like Kylo's dead and this is Ben. I like that, but I'm just not 100% in it. I don't know.
Yeah. Jake, we're getting a couple audio issues from you, but we're going to power through it. I think it should be okay. I think the one thing that they do in The Force Awakens is they do show the conflict within Kylo Ren a lot. They don't really do that in the second movie. But I think the way to get us to buy into, I was having trouble with it too. By the way, here's another thing. Force healing powers, that's something we found out happened starting yesterday with Baby Yoda in The Mandalorian. Yeah. But I think, I don't know, man, as soon as, dude, when Han Solo's voice hit, I literally yelled out, "God damn it," in the theater.
You got a reaction from our row.
Because laughed. I guess I just wasn't expecting that. I thought I would see Ewan McGregor in this movie. I thought I might see Qui-Gon Jinn or Yoda, but I just didn't think we were going to get Han Solo. And it almost, if Han Solo forgives him, I guess I have to. I guess that's just what I was feeling in that moment. But it is.
Yeah. That's tough. Why he's there, yeah.
It is tough. Mm-hmm. It can be hard to swallow from a story perspective because he's a pretty bad dude. But also, maybe the stuff what the Emperor says about every voice you've ever heard has been me. It's almost like he's had this ultimate evil influencing the entire time. At least that's what I got out of it.
Yeah.
So that was the movie.
That makes complete sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Abigail.
That's the whole movie.
He's being pulled in different directions, and ultimately he went for the good.
Do we have any hot takes? Do we? Are any initial gut reactions, good or bad?
C-3PO is the best character in this movie.
He's
the funniest character in this movie.
I feel like the stuff where they're getting ready to wipe C-3PO's mind or whatever. I feel like that is the stuff that made me cry the most, and I think he was the funniest in this movie. And that part really, that was the first part of the movie that really got me going. I was really liking everything I was seeing, but that was the first time I had like an emotional reaction when I was like, C-3PO might like kind of die here. Because I've also he's always been one of my favorite characters, which is weird because a lot of people think he's very annoying, but he's been around for so long, and he's always had just like such a big part, but a background part. I don't know. I've always really loved him. So, yeah, that part
he's definitely
sad.
an anchor, isn't he, in all the movies?
Yeah, he's in everything.
So
Yeah,
having
he's
that,
in every movie.
having his memory wiped, and first of all, though, when he does get the memory wipe and when he speaks in the Sith tongue, and says that really scary thing, and then Babu Frick just
I believe
like,
it's called parcel tongue.
Parcel. I know, dude. There was some Harry Potter moments. I kept thinking of those other things. I was like, oh, the Horcruxes that you got to find. No, but when Babu Frick, who is also my other favorite character, when after C-3PO finally like translates it, he's like, yay! Like, good job. It's so fucking funny. I loved Babu Frick.
All the new characters were great. I mean, we'll talk more next. I think, Zori Bliss was great. All of her interactions with Poe Dameron were really good. Jana was great. I liked Rose in this movie. I mean, she really wasn't in it very much, but like she was way less annoying this time around. Like, it just, everything seemed to work. And like, J.J. Abrams had the impossible task of wrapping up a 9-movie saga. Yeah. And how you're not going to make, you got to make some.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but there's not everything is going to have full resolution, but I think they did a really, like, I was surprised at how much they actually tied knots, and I felt like good about, the ending.
You know who's had a rough trilogy?
Talk to me.
Chewbacca.
He really.
Oh my God.
Whenever he finds out that Leia dies,
oh my God,
he has a breakdown, and at first I was like, I had two reactions there. My first reaction was he's showing more of an emotional breakdown for Leia than he did for Han, which seems weird, but also I'm like, this is for both of them.
Right.
I was like, this is Chewie having a breakdown because it's one after another.
Yeah.
Dude, when they gave him that Yavin medal, when they gave him the medal of the Yavin medal, I lost my mind.
I did a big clap for that moment.
I was like, because like, well, I have not read any of the reviews. I know the reviews are like really middle of the road, and I can only assume that people are complaining about the fan service. But like at the end of the day, this is a product, and I'll give me the fan service. I like Star Wars for very specific reasons, and that reason is that Charlie from Lost is in it.
Why is he in it, by the way? When I saw him early on, like, I was like, wait a minute. What the fuck is happening?
I think, like, it's that J.J. Abrams thing.
He's trying to find Penny.
Although, did Greg Grunberg die? I think
he did.
Died. He died.
I think he
died.
did.
Hey, what about Wedge Antilles?
Yeah, he's great. He's
cool.
Yeah.
That was tight.
1 second, I loved it. Hal Clay, friend of the podcast, texted me a while ago, just said, I'm shaking. So
Straight up
chills. I'm shaking.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of? So I thought the Emperor was really. I was surprised we got Emperor right away.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking we would hear his voice and maybe not even see him until the very end.
Right.
I thought he was very scary looking. He sounded great.
Mm-hmm.
It was when he's like being held up by that
thing,
that tower thing. I thought all the Emperor stuff was really cool. I was kind of expecting, and this is my fault for expecting it. I can't I go, we've talked about it a lot. Like you can't go into a movie thinking like, this is what I want to see. And if it's not this, you get mad at it. I was expecting maybe a little bit of a bigger battle down there. Maybe like, I was expecting Kylo would still be a bad guy. You would see like maybe Kylo and the Emperor fighting against Rey I don't know. But I loved all of that stuff. I loved all of it down there. All the weird, scary Sith world shit. I loved all of everything the Emperor did. I thought it was great.
The way that he's like, his life support system is going and like all the weird stuff behind him. And I thought it was terrifying.
I thought it was terrifying. That whole arena full of like, I don't know, the souls of dead Sith. I mean, like
The scope of it was really cool. It felt like Lord of the Rings.
It did feel like Lord of the Rings.
Big.
And I think as they dive into the mythology of the story, which is, God, if I could give one actual criticism to The Last Jedi is that, and I was talking to Abby about this earlier, they spent so much time convincing us like, hey, human beings are garbage. War is inevitable. It doesn't matter if you're fighting for good or bad. Everybody's terrible. And it's like, that's not... Star Wars is a deep mythology, and it's the legend of the Jedi and the Sith and the good versus evil and the balance of the Force.
Yes, and to hear I am all of the Jedi versus I am all of the Sith, like that stuff.
I gotta go read the breakdown when you start hearing all the Jedi voices. I want to know who all... I mean, I
had the same feeling too. I was like, fuck.
I heard Ewan McGregor. I know I heard Samuel L. Jackson.
Yoda a couple times.
Heard Yoda.
So it's Yoda. It's Yoda, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, Anakin he's the one who says like, Rey, bring balance to the Force.
Okay. Yeah.
I heard them for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So obviously since 2015 we've been talking about Rey's lineage and her parents. How now that we know that she was a Palpatine, she was Emperor Palpatine's granddaughter. I don't 100%. I haven't put it all together on how that worked out.
From the moment that I heard Kylo Ren say that there was more to the story, I was like happy to hear that and excited. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I know. Of course. Yeah, there has to be something connected.
You don't just tease that for a whole movie in The Force Awakens and then just be like, just kidding. But I guess that's what they tried to do. Actually.
They did.
That's what they did. Jake, how do you feel about that lineage?
It was a surprise to me. It's not something I ever actually think I thought about, but it also wasn't, when I found out, I wasn't like, ooh, or like, yes. I was just like, oh, okay. I was like, that's weird, but okay.
Yeah.
But I thought for a second, like, there were all those, like, there had been rumors since the first one came out that maybe Rey was going to be a clone of somebody. Mm-hmm. And I've never thought the clone theory was something that they would actually go with. But as soon as the beginning started and the Emperor is like, I created Snoke, and then you see a big jar full of Snokes.
Yep.
Did you guys get that? There's like a jar with a whole bunch of Snokes in it.
Yep.
I was like, maybe we are going the clone route. Maybe like Rey is going to be some sort of experiment from the Emperor.
Honestly, that would be that's a cool product. They should sell Snokes in a jar.
Yeah, grow a Snoke.
Yeah,
jar
like
Snoke.
little spongy.
Grow a Snoke with a jar of Snokes.
Grow a Snoke.
Grow a Snoke with a jar of Snokes. Cool. Get down.
Look, Mom, I planted my first Snoke. You better not let him control your mind.
Don't let him in my closet. He's gonna steal my little gold bathrobe.
I loved Palpatine. I'm cool with the lineage. If you think about it, there's only 4 or 5 realistic ways they could have gone. She was either going to be a Skywalker, or a Palpatine, or a clone. Like, I never bought that she was actually Rey and Han's other kid, and just nobody talked about it. Like, that never made sense to me.
Yeah.
So I was cool with that. The whole thing at the end with her basically being all of the Jedi in one. I
like that.
I like that a lot. And, Kylo battles we finally saw the Knights of Ren.
Fuck yes.
Kind of.
But
they're an afterthought. They're barely in this movie.
Also, best line in the movie.
Kylo Ren has to kill them all. I thought that was sick.
Stormtroopers? Whoa, is that the Knights of Ren? Yeah, cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Because that's what I was thinking. Oh, sweet.
Sick.
Maybe they'll do something. Nope.
Yeah. Oh, sweet. What do you think they'll do? I bet they're going to build a cool...
Just stand around and look
probably
ominous.
just like walk around.
Together.
How do we feel about Finn and his arc over this trilogy and where he ended up?
His unfinished business. Never found out what he was going to say to Rey.
He was going to tell her he had force powers.
Okay.
That's had to be it.
I'm sure.
Jake?
I think Poe and Finn are way more watchable in this movie than they're I think in The Last Jedi, every scene the two of them are in is bad. Like it's the arcs that they give them in the storylines that they're giving in Last Jedi, I can't stand. Like when I rewatched it the other day, I was just like, this is all the stuff I don't like in this movie.
Yeah,
they have both been brought back to having like points, like they're both doing things that are. I feel like Finn is kind of pointless and lost in The Last Jedi. They didn't know what to do with his character, so they put him on a quest that didn't pan out. He didn't do anything barely. And I think in this movie,
but damn, it felt good to tear that town apart. Canto Bite. Doesn't he say
that's
something
the only.
like that
They destroyed Canto Bite, which is what the viewers wanted to do. Like, get rid of this damn town, dude. You know
they
what?
They were much better in this movie.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to do some reading about Exegol, which is the hidden Sith planet. I thought that stuff was so cool, and like
I'm gonna move there.
Like I'm gonna live there.
I can see you being comfortable there.
I could just get like a little 2-bedroom duplex, and I could live with all those shadow people. And I could just. By the way, when Kylo Ren, when he shows up and he's just wearing like his, he looks like he just got off his hosting shift at Longhorn.
Oh, just wearing black on black.
Yeah, like a black shirt and black pants. I thought that they teased the lightsaber.
How many are in your party?
The lightsaber battle on the Death Star that was in the trailers.
That was great,
and it was really, really well executed. I really thought that it was visually stunning. The movie had a really good balance of action, a lot of laughs, a lot of tears. Abby, let's do this real quick. What was your number one tearjerker moment besides sitting in the Walmart parking lot?
Dude, honestly, like the C-3PO first got me going. Okay, I know when BB-8 is at the bedside of Leia and after she passes, after giving her last reach out to Kylo Ren, that was like, it just, then it like, they keep pulling on your heartstrings with her because Poe Dameron gives like a little speech, which is extremely hard to handle.
General Poe Dameron.
Excuse me, General. Yeah, I then by the end of the movie, I just was in like a fit.
You were crying for like 20 minutes straight.
Yeah, there was a moment where there wasn't anything to cry about, but I was just like, I can't stop.
They were just riding on those horses.
Yeah.
And you were just crying.
Yeah, I think it felt like not like justice or like it felt like what I was getting what I wanted and felt like I deserved out of Star Wars.
Yeah,
and I was
we're
really
entitled
happy.
fans.
Yeah, I'm
Give
an
me
entitled fanboy, and I like fan service, and I thought this was a really good story, and I thought that it carried on with the characters that I loved from The Force Awakens and tied nice little bows on things, and also had a deep arc from all the other movies in the original trilogy and the prequels.
So you know what got me really badly, and I think this is my favorite thing in the movie. When Luke is explaining about Leia's lightsaber, and they cut to the scene of Luke and Leia training. And they reveal young Luke and Leia.
That was,
I was kicking the air.
Force Ghost Luke and Leia at the end, I cried a fuck ton too.
What?
The Force Ghost Luke and Leia at the end where you see Rey take the Skywalker name. That was when
what sparked when Rey looks for a new apartment on Tatooine.
Can we talk about that?
Hey, I was like, oh, are we gonna get a Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru cameo here?
They're like, hey guys.
I'm surprised that we still didn't get. I'm very surprised that we got another full trilogy of Star Wars movies that includes the original cast and still do not have, out of all three films, we do not have a single scene of Luke, Han, and Leia together, ever. It never happens. And I'm very surprised. Like, I thought for sure JJ would do something, like maybe in a flashback or something. I just figured there would be something in there where, like, you see them together again for something, and it never happens, and I was like, whoa, okay, all right,
yeah,
I agree. I would have loved that, but
give it to me, JJ.
Gimme.
I deserve it.
I need it.
So as we wrap up, and like I said, tune into Yes Have Some Podcast next week. We'll have more in-depth thoughts and breakdowns. I'm gonna see the movie again as soon as possible. My gut reaction is that what'd you say?
I think I need a couple days.
Yeah, really? I get why it affected you.
I feel sad. Like I feel sad, and I want to make it clear that I'm not sad because I didn't like the movie.
I think it's the same.
You're like emotionally.
I'm sad because it's over. I think it's like it was very draining almost.
It was. I was drained physically.
When Lost ended, I felt that. Like, when Lost ended, the next day, I had the same feeling in my stomach as when my grandmother died. I don't know what that says about me.
Yeah. When the movie ended...
I wonder if it's because like I literally have rewatched all 9 movies, you know, and I've watched all 9 here in a row, and if that has a little bit more of a weight on it because I started from the prequels and I even like, dude, we'll talk about it when we get to the episode, but there are even like things in the prequels that I ended up being like, oh, I think I really like stuff that I never before cared about, that watching it all in a row made me feel like, oh, you know what? I get some things that are in the prequels that maybe I didn't like before. And part of me was even hoping Anakin showed up in some way in this. And I'm glad that you hear his voice, but like that's something I would never say in my life, you know, before, like, oh, I hope Anakin's in episode 9.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just weird, man.
Yeah. Man, I think they were in such a tough position, and I feel like J.J. Abrams did something that I don't know if any other director could have done. They covered a lot of ground. There was a lot to wrap up, and also reintroducing Lando Calrissian in a meaningful way. Mm-hmm. Warwick Davis was back as Wicket for like 8 seconds, and I literally, again, was like shouting at the top of my lungs. Wicket!
You were like, Craig was calling his name as if he could hear him, and he would turn, hey, Wicket!
Wicket! Y'all gonna celebrate?
Wicket!
Y'all gonna have another celebration?
Da, 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 da.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
Oh, that's the wrong song.
Dude, that was the special edition celebration.
Oh my God.
Anyways, I thought, like, it's really hard. And Jake, I think it's a little bit different for you because you were so turned off by The Last Jedi that you kind of took like a year and a half off of Star Wars almost.
Oh,
like,
I did. I quit Star Wars. I did. I gave it up for like a whole year. Yeah.
Yeah. But it is important to you. Very important. You have a Death Star tattooed on your face, so it's like it's.
I have 2 Star Wars tattoos on my head.
Yeah. So if any of us should be like, listen.
Yeah.
It's like
Jake, you're like Kylo Ren coming back in. You know?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
So
wait, are we even going to talk about the kiss?
Do it. I didn't want to go there because
I liked it. I like the kiss. You don't like the kiss,
I'm
Jake?
glad he died, right? Yeah, I'm glad
you wanted them to be
died
brother
right
and
after that.
sister?
I
was like, great, future
I don't
together.
care if they're not. I don't care if they're not brother and sister, but to me, like ending the trilogy with the 2 of them, like we're together now. I was like, that seems a little hokey and full of shit. So I'm glad he died right after that.
But yeah, my buddy who I was with when they kissed, he goes, "Man, they're gonna have some powerful kids." And then he just croaked.
Also, the way he died, people laughed in my theater because he like kind of looks up and falls straight back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody laughed. I was like, oh, that's weird.
I think I really did buy into the Kylo redemption, but it took the power of Leia and Han's influence. Like I don't think I would have accepted it without Han like telling me it was okay. Mm-hmm. And also Harrison Ford's still really badass. And also Force Ghost Luke looked really disheveled.
I loved it.
He looked rough.
He's like fucking. His hair somehow got longer.
Yeah. That's what happens. I understand it. He's like, why try? Like,
this is something I want to talk about next week.
Okay.
Because it's something that I'll tease it here. Like in the original films, whenever it was always kind of like, you know, we don't know a whole lot about what happens to the Jedi when they pass on or really what a Force ghost is or anything. Mm-mm. And it seemed in the other movies, it's kind of like, oh, when Jedis die, they can come back. They're ghosts now. But in this trilogy, it's like, okay, Jedi die whenever they want. Yoda gets sick and passes on.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan like you could tell Obi-Wan knew what he was doing when he passes over. It's almost as if they do it when they want to, or whenever they use the Force in a very, very strong. Kylo passes after he brings Rey back. But it is also like, but they can also physically affect the world still. So it's like, are they dead, or is this just the higher plane of Jediism? You know what I mean? It's like they don't talk about it and they don't really get into it. And I think this is something we need to dive into.
The TV show Jedi Heaven. Just exploring what it's like to be a Force
touched by a Jedi.
Hell yeah. Seventh Jedi.
Touched by a Jedi. That's what happened to Kylo Ren when he was kissing on Rey.
Oh, I don't care. I love that he's redeemed. I love Adam Driver. I've always loved Kylo Ren. I've always rooted for him to come around. So it makes me
Listen,
happy.
I know we've missed a lot, but like I said, we just wanted to get some initial thoughts out. We're gonna have a longer, in-depth breakdown coming out next week.
I think I wanted to do what Jake did, and I wanted to watch all of the movies in succession.
I need a
because
break.
I didn't.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Hey, last thing.
I want to
Taking
go
another
right back
year off.
into it.
Let's end on this note. In our lifetimes, will we see episode 10, 11, and 12 continuing the story of Rey Skywalker? Now, that is not her birth blood given name.
Taken name.
She took it. So
Yeah.
anybody can be a Skywalker now. I'm a Skywalker.
I am.
Are you?
Yeah, I already changed my name legally.
Cool. Do you guys think we'll see... It won't be soon. I think it might be 10 years. Do you think we'll see a continuation of the story?
Yes. I do.
Yeah, probably. Like, I do think it will be a good 10 or 20 years, but sure.
Right. Were you guys surprised that that kid from the end of The Last Jedi was not in this movie?
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the... Yeah, don't...
Dude, what if at that
please.
scene where the entire rebellion shows up and there's like 1,000 ships, he's just riding on his broom?
Fuck. Yippee! Yippee!
Yeah, I really loved it. I'm not even gonna put you guys in the spot to try to rank it or grade it. I just know that I liked it a lot. I'm glad I stayed spoiler free. I feel at ease
Yep.
with the Palpatine revelation. I like the mythology that they dove into. I'm probably going to pick up the new Rise of Kylo comic book series, which will give us even more backstory on Kylo's training as a Jedi and all of that. Final thoughts, Jake.
How do you do final thought? I don't know, man. I liked it a lot. And I just feel like I need a really long nap. I don't know. It just feels like it's draining. I want to. I don't know.
Do you think there's a chance that
Here's a hug.
Empress Palpatine,
Yeah, I'm sad.
Empress Palpatine, Dark Rey, will she?
I want a Rey on each shoulder tattoo with her in the dark version and then her in the cute version.
Dude,
I just want both Reys. I like them.
Can I just put it out there? When they'd show those Dark Rey visions, I was like, yeah, I like this.
I like that. Where's she going?
Craig's got dark ray vision.
I do.
Dark Rey vision.
Hey, listen. Here's my stance on Dark Rey, or my Dark Rey stance, as I call it. Nothing for Dark Rey stance.
Oh, I just put it together.
Wow.
Okay.
Stance Stance versus Stantz.
Tazanzi.
Tazanzi. It's a Tansy.
I thought it was great. I mean, you knew she wasn't going to go to the dark side. I didn't
Fuck
think
no,
they were
she's
going
got
to.
all the good behind
They
her.
were going to end this movie on a total bummer. Abby, what is your final thought?
Dio is adorable, and I'm really happy that he's cute and funny. When he shies away from Rey in the beginning was one of my favorite moments. This movie had a lot of adorable little creatures and moments that made me laugh, and it tied all the loose ends together, and it deleted the things that I didn't like from The Last Jedi, and I wish there was more coming, but I'm happy to go back into my room with my little TV and watch all my VHS tapes, the unsullied versions of Star Wars, because I feel like I want to be wrapped up in it as much as possible and go back to the movie theater and see it again. I'm kind of bummed that there isn't an episode of The Mandalorian tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I think my last thought when the movie ended was, thank God Ghostbusters isn't out yet, because I need to have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
So R2-D2 had more in this movie. I was so happy. Still not a ton, but he was on the back of Poe's X-Wing and
He replaced C-3PO's memories. He had a big,
he did
that's a
that.
big
It was
thing.
great.
Yeah.
But the 7 minutes where we thought Chewbacca was dead was really tough.
Oh, fuck that. That was so fucked up. I was like, oh, well, this movie's mean.
I was like, well, here's a really good way to get Rey to turn to the dark
Way to
side.
go, Rey.
She's got Palpatine lightning fingers, and she just killed Chewbacca.
She's got butterfingers. When she did that, I was like, oh, shit. It was going to be awesome. I was like, oh,
This is bad.
fuck.
This is bad.
Yeah, real quick.
Cool. Well, we'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for tuning in for this very special gut reaction episode of Yes Have Some Podcast. Tune in every week. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere you get podcasts. Please follow us on social media at YHS Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, the official Facebook group for Yes Have Some is Yes Have Some Group Therapy. Now, What was that?
I just said my own thing.
Okay, it was good.
It's good.
We'll leave it at that. I've got a lot to process, and I'm glad that we could do this and get these gut reactions out. I am going to go think about Emperor Palpatine and figure out how he came back and why he was so cool looking. Yeah. That's what I'm going to do.
Actually, what you're going to do is probably receive a call from Jake to keep talking more on the phone after we stop this, because we just have more to say.
All right, guys.
Get to bed, Jake.
Bye, everybody.
Give yourself a good night.